I need help. Hey guys, what is sleep? I need to know, for a friend. So now it's the 17th and not the 14th like I hoped it would be when I filmed this, and that's because I've been working the last 3 days, and so it's really been taking up all my time. I haven't been writing, I haven't been filming, I haven't been doing much of anything for the last 3 days, and it's kind of been shitty. And I got into this weird funk of like, I was too tired when I came home from work to write, but I wanted to write really bad, and so I would stay up thinking maybe I could wake myself up enough to write, but I couldn't, and then I just wasn't sleeping, and it was a whole thing, and it was pretty bad. But you know, what can you do? So I started off the week with 2 really late nights of writing. I wrote multiple chapters and several thousand words both nights. Roll the tapes! My main question is just, why do I always film these things, like, late at night when I'm looking like a disaster? You know, my makeup's gone, my hair's a mess, but this is when I decide to film. Also, I'm keeping my voice down right now because the neighbors can probably hear me. Our walls are very thin here and it's very late at night. Hey y'all, so it's day 10. I'm super excited because I just finished chapter 9, which is the kind of key chapter. I had some big issues with the chapter going into it in terms of logistics and motivation. Luckily, those issues worked their way out as I was writing. So that was really nice. So I'm done with that chapter. It came out to 3,500 words, which is really cool because that's the longest chapter that I've made so far. Yeah, I really want to talk more about what the actual book's about, and I would love to tell you what this chapter is about. It would take so much info dump and so much setup to explain this chapter. Basically, she's in the middle of giving birth right now, and there's like a mob trying to knock down her door because she stole something, which she wasn't supposed to steal. She's also trying to keep the fact that she's giving birth away from like everyone in her life, because they might try to turn her baby into something that she doesn't want him to be, long story. And so she's trying to basically give birth on her own. Someone else shows up to help her, but give birth on her own while the mom's trying to knock down her door, and then escape the planet while she's in labor. So yeah, it's a really intense chapter, but it's been super fun to write. I kind of want to write chapter 10 tonight. Is that bad? Like, it's basically morning already. Is this the writer lifestyle that I've heard so much about? Is this it? Hey guys, once again, late at night, trying to keep my voice down as much as I can. It's the 14th. That's pretty late already. We're already kind of halfway through the month, and I still only have 18,000 words. Not great. That being said, I do have a lot more chapters. I completed a lot of the earlier chapters that I kind of left little pieces of, and today alone I wrote 2 full chapters, which is really rewarding. One of the hardest things right now is just trying to figure out what to do with 2 of my characters, the main girl Aria and her friend Loa. In my original draft, they were like besties who traveled the stars together, but the further I've gotten along in my drafts, the more I've realized that if they're friends from the start, there is no dramatic tension between them. They have nothing to talk about, and it also doesn't make sense for them to be friends because both of them are kind of uptight. I think the hardest thing right now is trying to work out their relationship. They really don't like each other, and I've written characters that don't like each other before, but the thing with them is they don't like each other, but they're forced to be together for the most part. There are some times where they kind of have the choice to exit the situation. They have to make up an excuse for why they have to stay on the ship and they can't leave. The other issue I'm having is how to make them friends by the end and make it realistic that they hate each other in the first place. Even though they grew up together, basically they hate each other, but then slowly they learn to like each other and learn to support and accept one another. Spinning that is pretty hard. Not gonna lie. Luckily, we are still in draft 1, so I can still say like, oh, it's just a draft, like I'm gonna move on. I also just have such an urge to just write the end of this book. I'm kind of proud of it, the way it all comes together, and so I really just want to write the end, but I'm trying to write it in chronological order. Despite my 2 really late nights of writing, I'm still moving at a really slow pace. I only have about 22,000 words done at this point, which is only a third of the book. I'd hoped to be halfway done by now, and I'm not doing great. As for the coming week, I'm hoping to do some more interesting parts of the story. Right now I'm kind of writing the boring parts and trying to make them less boring, and it's not too fun, but I have some really interesting scenes coming up that I can't wait to start. The next scene I'm writing though is one of my favorites. It's chapter 13, I think. So today I actually solved a plot hole, which is really cool, and it connects chapter 2 to chapter 13 and makes the minutia of chapter 13 work. But the real reason that I like this scene is that my favorite character in the entire series, Louisa, is back. Louisa was in the first book, and spoiler alert, she leaves the group at the end of the book and kind of sails off into space on her own for intriguing reasons. She turns out to be the bad guy. But in the scene of this sequel, Louisa just ends up popping up in this random spaceship in the middle of space. There are reasons that she's there. I'm just not going into them right now. And Arya, our new main character, doesn't know Louisa yet, and they meet for the first time. So this scene is the first indication that Arya, our new protagonist, and Savvy, our old protagonist from the original book, who is in this book but just doesn't get as much page time, that they're going to meet, and they're going to clash. There will be consequences. Anyway, luckily for me, this shit is never getting published because I just gave you guys a whole lot of spoilers, and people who spoil books have a reserved seat in the depths of hell. Right next to those who park their car in 2 parking spaces, and those people who eat Kit Kats like it's a fucking cookie. Like, do you see the lines? There are lines for a reason. I'm trying to think of something funny to show you guys that I've like done this week, but I can't. I got some ramen noodles. My mother is a saint. I never have to leave my dorm again. Haha. I'm just kidding. I have things to do. I have places to be. Let's get an ASMR moment. Sounds nice, doesn't it? It's making you very hungry. Oh yeah. Should I just become an ASMR channel? No, I'd be bad at it. So I'm gonna get back to writing, and I'll see you guys later. Oh, don't leave yet, I still have an announcement. If you would like to submit to reviewing your stories, you should definitely do that. The deadline is January 31st, I think, something around those lines. So if you don't know what it is, if you've never submitted before, just send me 5,000 words or less of a story of some sort. It can be a novel, short story, anything. I haven't gotten poetry yet, but I'd do that too. I'm excited for all the new people that are submitting to this series, and I'm also excited for people who are submitting again. We have some second-time submitters. That's right, if you want to submit a second time, you can do that as well. I know I've had a lot of requests for people who want to do it again, and in the past I've been kind of hesitant because I want everyone to get a chance, but we're in volume 3 now, so if you want to submit a second time, you go right on ahead. Just send me a DM on Wattpad or an email, and the first 10 submissions get into the video. And until next time, may the gods of plot be ever on your side.